Hello, children. Welcome to another episode of Maths with Mr. Salim. Today we'll be covering on word problems, addition and subtraction for level 2. Let's get going. Okay, here we have a word problem. Let's start off with reading the word problem. At a bakery sale, Raylene bought some cupcakes. Oh, as you can see here, here's a cupcake. Okay, Raylene sold 490 of the cupcakes. Raylene gave away 240 cupcakes. Raylene was left with 370 cupcakes. How many cupcakes did Raylene buy at first? Okay, so that was our first reading, just to give us a gist and understanding of what the story is about. Now we are going to go for our second reading, and in our second reading we are going to isolate all the important information and we are going to underline and circle them. So remember to underline the keywords and to circle the key values, okay, the key numbers. Alright, let's start again. At a bakery sale, Raylene bought some cupcakes. Raylene sold 490 of the cupcakes. So we know that she sold 490 cupcakes. So when you sell something, are you adding or are you subtracting something? Did you say adding something? No, that's not quite true. When you sell something, you are no longer having it. So you have to subtract it away. Okay. So we're gonna mention subtracting 490 cupcakes. So that's important. So we're gonna underline cupcakes and we're gonna circle 490 here. Next up, Raylene gave away 240 cupcakes. So giving away, would that be adding or subtracting? Did you say subtracting? Well done. So 240 cupcakes given away would be subtracting away from the total that she bought at first. So we are going to underline cupcakes, circle 240. Raylene was left with 370 cupcakes. Okay, so if she's left with that, that should be the last bit in our working backwards. Okay, so this is what she is left with. So we are going to circle 370 cupcakes and underline cupcakes. 370, underline cupcakes. Okay, next up, we will then look at the last bit here. How many cupcakes did Raylene buy at first? So that is what we are looking for. We are looking for how many cupcakes she had at the start, at first. Okay, so we are going to use working backwards. Before we go on to that, let's go through what we should understand. So who bought some cupcakes? Yes, that's right, Raylene. How many cupcakes were sold? You're right, 490 cupcakes. How many cupcakes were given away? You say 240 cupcakes? Well done. Alright, next up. How many cupcakes were left? That's right, 370 cupcakes were left. And finally, what are we finding out? This is a question asking us to find out. Did you say how many cupcakes she had at first? Well done. Alright, let's move on. So this is how it should look like. So you will start off with a box to put a question mark here. And then you mention the 490 of the cupcakes that was sold. And you put an arrow because you are going forward first. And then you put another box here, which is what we do not know. And then this gave away another 240 cupcakes. So we subtract 240 here and an arrow. And finally, another box to present what she is left with at the end, which is 370 cupcakes. So now to proceed with working backwards. So if you're working backwards, what you subtract initially, you will then add, because you are working your way back to the start, back to what she had at first before she sold and give away cupcakes. So when you subtract 240 earlier, now going backwards, you will add 240. And whatever answer that you get here, you will add with 490 to finally find out how many cupcakes she had at first. So that completes our our working backwards diagram. Okay, now let's proceed. So we decided to use, that's right, working backwards. Well done. Okay, so this is how a working backwards heuristic should look like. Okay, let's proceed. Next up. So now let's carry out. So first up, we will have 370. You are going to add it with 240. So let's work it out. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to work this out. Are you working it out on a piece of paper? Do not use a calculator. Do it on your own. That's right. Okay. Did you figure out that when you add this, you will get 610? Well done. Okay. So 610. Now to add on 610 with 490, because 490 is the number of cupcakes that she sold. So we're going to add them up. Okay, you work it out using a piece of paper. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Let's go. Okay, are you done? Are you sure? Can you check your work? Make sure your working is right. Did you regroup properly? Remember to regroup and add a +1. Okay, so let's work it out. So if you work it out correctly, you should get 1100. That's right. Well done. Okay, so are we done yet? Is there something missing? As mentioned already, so yeah, we put in the answer here, but I think there's something missing. Can you identify what's missing? It's something that you should always end off with in a word problem question. You're right, you need an answer statement. So there you have it. Aideen bought 1,100 cupcakes at first. Well done, boys and girls. Okay, are we done yet? Is that it? Can we now submit our work? No, there's still one more step in working out a word problem. That is what we referred to, remember, in our previous video. Yes, we need to check. So we start out with understand, and then we move on to choosing the correct heuristic. And then in this step, we did the carry out. And finally, we are going to check. All right, let's check. So let's figure this out. Is my answer reasonable? 1,100. Is it reasonable? Kind of makes sense because the number is bigger than all the other numbers here, and it is accumulation of all the things that was given away or sold. So it does make sense. So should my answer be greater or smaller than 490? Did you say greater? Yes, you're right. It has to be greater. Okay, let's work forward, check the answer. Alright, let's do that. So, do I add or subtract when I work forward? Well, your answer is 1,100. So, you are going to sell it and give it away. So, you have to, that's right, subtract. So, yes, 1,100 is subtract with 490. You get 610. And what's next? Am I done? No, I still have some cupcakes that I gave away, that Raylene gave away actually. So yeah, 610 I will subtract with 240 and I get 370, which is the number of cupcakes that I am left with, or Raylene is left with. So therefore my answer is correct. Well done. Alright, as to okay, boys and girls, let's do a quick recall of the steps involved in a word problem question. So we start off with understanding. Well done. Yes, you need to understand the question. Okay, that is indicated in our ability to underline and circle the keywords and the key numbers. Alright, next up would be, yes, to choose the correct heuristic. You're right. And then what's next? Yes, you have to finally carry out to do the question, finally solve it with the answers, to do your working. Remember, when you're doing your Oregon working at the side here, always it's always on the right side. Remember to draw your lines. Remember to do your regrouping if it's required. Okay. Make sure you have your addition or subtraction statement here. If it's a model drawing, you have to draw your model. If it's a working backwards, you have to draw your boxes, draw your arrows. And finally, ending it off with your answer statement. Alright, the next and final bit to it is, yes, you have to do a check. Okay, so remember to check your work by working it out. In this case, in this particular lesson, we were doing working backwards, so we work forward to check our answer. So basically, we are trying to work it out again and see if we can get the correct answer or the answers that were provided in the question itself. Alright, boys and girls, that concludes today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you again in class. Thank you. Bye bye.